I was standing in our living room, surrounded by aunts, uncles, and cousins. Everyone was laughing, plates balanced on their laps, when Adrian's voice tore through the room like a blade. "Lucas is an embarrassment to this family," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The room went silent. My face burned. I looked at my older brother, searching for some hint that he was joking, but his eyes were cold. Aunt Marie shifted uncomfortably. Uncle Tom stared at his shoes. My mother's face went pale, but she didn't defend me. Adrian crossed his arms, smirking like he'd just won something. My hands shook as I set down my plate. I couldn't breathe in there anymore. Without a word, I grabbed my laptop bag from the corner and headed for the door. Nobody stopped me. As I stepped outside into the cool evening air, I heard Adrian's voice resume inside, probably spinning some story about how I deserved it. I gripped my laptop tighter. This wasn't over. Not even close. I was sitting at a bus stop, rain tapping against the shelter's roof. My jeans were soaked, and my sneakers squished with every movement. Adrian's words replayed in my head like a broken record. An embarrassment. He'd said cruel things before, little digs disguised as jokes, but never like this. Never in front of everyone. I pulled out my phone and stared at my app's icon on the screen. For months, I'd been building something I believed could matter, a scheduling app with smart predictions. Everyone laughed when I mentioned it. Adrian called it a hobby for failures. But sitting there in the rain, I made a decision. I was going to finish it. I was going to prove every single one of them wrong. My phone buzzed. It was a notification from my development software. Critical error, prototype crashed. My stomach dropped. I stared at the message, feeling the weight of everything collapsing. Not now. Please, not now. I was barely through my apartment door when someone pounded on it. I opened it to find Mara, my friend from college, dripping wet and furious. "I saw the video," she said, shoving her phone in my face. Someone had recorded Adrian's outburst and posted it online. My humiliation was now public. I felt sick. Mara pushed past me into the apartment. "You can't let him win, Lucas. You have to finish that app." I shook my head. "It just crashed again. I don't even know if I can fix it." She sat on my couch, scrolling through her phone with a dark expression. "There's something else you need to know. Adrian's been talking about you all over town." My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" She hesitated, then showed me her screen. "You need to see this." It was a screenshot of a group chat. Adrian's name was right at the top, and my stomach twisted as I started reading his words. The screenshot showed Adrian in a community group chat, writing, "My brother Lucas is a failure who'll never contribute anything. He wastes his time on some app nobody wants." The messages went back weeks. He'd been systematically destroying my reputation, turning people against me before I even had a chance. My hands clenched into fists. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was sabotage. "Mara, watch me carefully. He's scared of you, Lucas. That's why he's doing this." I couldn't speak. I was too angry, too hurt. My phone buzzed, breaking the silence. It was an email notification. The subject line made my heart stop. Application status update. Tech Forward Incubator. I'd applied months ago and assumed they'd rejected me when I never heard back. With shaking hands, I opened it. "We'd like to schedule a meeting to discuss your application. Are you available tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Tomorrow. I looked at Mara, then at my crash prototype. "I'm not ready." Mara and I spent the entire night at my kitchen table, laptops open, energy drinks scattered everywhere. My app needed to be stable for tomorrow's meeting, but every time we fixed one bug, another appeared. Around 3 in the morning, my eyes were burning, and I was ready to give up. "Try the scheduling algorithm one more time," Mara said, stifling a yawn. I ran the test sequence, expecting another failure. Instead, something strange happened. The app didn't just schedule tasks. It started predicting conflicts before they occurred, suggesting solutions automatically. We both stared at the screen. "Did you program that?" Mara asked. I shook my head slowly. "No, that's the bug we've been chasing." "But it's not a bug. It's a feature." The algorithm had accidentally evolved beyond my original design. It was learning. Mara grinned. "Lucas, this is huge." My hands trembled as I saved the code. This could change everything. If I could show this tomorrow, maybe they'd actually listen. The Tech Forward Incubator office was sleek and intimidating, all glass walls and modern furniture. I was sweating through my shirt as I set up my laptop for the demo. Three investors sat across from me, faces unreadable. I started my pitch, voice shaking but steady. Then I launched the app. For 30 seconds, everything worked perfectly. The interface was smooth, the predictions accurate. Then the screen froze. My heart stopped. The app crashed, displaying an error message in bold red letters. I wanted to disappear. "I'm sorry," I stammered. "It was working this morning. I don't know what." One investor, a woman with sharp eyes, leaned forward. "Before it crashed, I noticed something. That predictive conflict feature. Did you intentionally design that?" I paused. "Actually, we discovered it by accident last night during testing." She exchanged glances with the other investors. "If you can stabilize that feature and build it out properly, we're interested." My breath caught. "Really?" She nodded. "Really? Fix it. Come back in 2 weeks." I floated home, my mind racing with possibilities. For the first time in months, I felt hope. But when I walked through the door, my mother's disappointed face crushed it immediately. "Adrian said you skipped another important interview today," she said quietly. My jaw dropped. "What?" "No, I had a meeting with an incubator. They want to invest in my app." She looked uncertain, like she wanted to believe me, but couldn't. Adrian appeared from the hallway, smirking. "An incubator?" "Lucas, stop embarrassing yourself." "Mom, he's making things up again." Anger boiled in my chest. "I'm not making anything up. They want me to come back in 2 weeks." Adrian laughed, cruel and dismissive. "Sure they do." I was about to explode when Dad appeared in the doorway. His face was gray, exhausted. "Lucas, come with me," he said quietly. "We need to talk." Alone. Something in his voice terrified me. I followed him to his study, leaving Adrian's smirk behind. Dad closed the study door and sank into his chair like a man defeated. "Lucas, I need to tell you something. I should have told you both months ago." My stomach twisted. "What's going on, Dad?" He took a deep breath. "We're in debt. Serious debt. Medical bills from your grandmother's final months, the business loan that fell through, the mortgage we refinanced. We're drowning." The room spun. "How bad is it?" His voice cracked. "We could lose the house in 3 months if we don't catch up on payments. $70,000. That was the number he said. It might as well have been $1 million. I gripped the edge of his desk, trying to process this. "Does Adrian know?" Dad nodded. "I told him last month. He's been trying to find solutions, but nothing's working." Suddenly, Adrian's behavior made more sense. The anger, the pressure, the constant criticism. He was terrified. I stood up, resolve hardening in my chest. "I'm going to help. I'll fix this." From the hallway, Adrian's laugh echoed. "You? You're delusional, Lucas." I locked myself in my room for 5 straight days. I barely ate, barely slept. My eyes burned from staring at code, but I didn't stop. The predictive feature needed to be perfect, and I was rebuilding the entire engine from scratch. Mara brought me food and coffee, checking my progress. "You look terrible," she said on day 3. "I feel terrible," I admitted, typing furiously. "But it's working." The algorithm was learning faster now, adapting to patterns I didn't even program. It was like watching something come alive. By day 5, I was running final tests when my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. "Is this Lucas Chin?" a professional voice asked. "Yes. This is Rebecca Martinez from Streamline Solutions. We downloaded your beta app from the incubator's testing platform. We'd like to discuss a potential partnership." My heart stopped. Streamline Solutions was a major productivity software company. "Ah, yes. Absolutely. When? How's next Tuesday?" I agreed, hands shaking as I hung up. This was real. This was actually happening. I spent the weekend preparing for the Streamline meeting, rehearsing my pitch in the mirror. Monday morning, I was reviewing notes when my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Stop embarrassing us. Don't make this worse. Adrian." My blood ran cold. "How did he find out about the meeting?" I texted back. "How do you know about Streamline?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. That evening, Adrian called another family meeting. Everyone gathered in the living room. Mom, Dad, Aunt Marie, Uncle Tom. Adrian stood like a prosecutor. "We need to talk about Lucas's business venture. He's chasing fantasies while our family is falling apart." Dad tried to interrupt. "Adrian, that's not fair," but Adrian cut him off. "He's wasting time on an app nobody wants." Meanwhile, real problems need solving. Something inside me snapped. I stood up, my voice louder than I'd ever made it. You don't know what you're talking about. You've been sabotaging me from the start. The room went silent. Adrian's face reddened. Sabotaging you? I'm trying to save you from humiliation. My hands shook, but I didn't back down. You told everyone in town I'm a failure. You posted in group chats, calling me worthless. You lied to Mom about me skipping interviews. Adrian's expression flickered, guilt, then anger. Because you needed to hear the truth. You're wasting your life. Dad stood. Adrian, enough. But I wasn't finished. You want to know the truth? Streamline Solutions wants to meet with me. A real company. About my app. Adrian's face went pale, then hardened. You're lying. You always lie to make yourself look good. Something in his desperation made him sloppy. He blurted out. Just like you lied about borrowing money from Uncle Tom and never paying him back. The room froze. Uncle Tom frowned. What? Lucas never borrowed money from me. Adrian realized his mistake immediately. His mouth opened, then closed. I stepped closer. You made that up, didn't you? You spread that rumor. Mom gasped. Adrian, did you? My brother's face crumbled, but before he could respond, my phone rang. The caller ID showed Streamline Solutions. I answered, stepping into the hallway while everyone watched. Hello. Lucas, this is Rebecca Martinez. I'm calling about tomorrow's meeting. We'd like to move forward with a licensing discussion. Can you bring your technical documentation? My heart hammered. Yes, absolutely. After confirming details, I hung up and returned to the living room. Everyone was staring. They want to license the app, I said quietly. Dad's face lit up. Mom covered her mouth. Adrian looked like he'd been punched. Aunt Marie actually smiled at me. For the first time, my family saw me differently. Not as an embarrassment, but as someone who might actually succeed. That night, I barely slept, reviewing documentation and preparing contracts. Around midnight, I heard footsteps outside my door. Adrian's voice, muffled. He was on the phone with someone. I pressed my ear to the door, catching fragments. My brother's meeting, Streamline Solutions, business partner. My stomach dropped. What was he doing? The next morning, I was ready to leave when my phone rang. It was Rebecca Martinez, and her voice sounded confused. Rebecca's tone was professional but puzzled. Lucas, we received a call yesterday from someone claiming to be your business partner. He wanted to discuss joint terms for the licensing agreement. My blood turned to ice. I don't have a business partner. What did he say? He identified himself as Adrian Chun, said he co-developed the app and should be included in negotiations. I closed my eyes, fury building. Adrian is my brother. He had nothing to do with the app's development. He's lying. There was a pause. I suspected as much. His technical knowledge seemed limited. We're proceeding only with you, but I wanted to give you a heads up. After hanging up, I stormed through the house looking for Adrian. I found him in the garage, hunched over his phone. When he saw me, guilt flashed across his face. You called Streamline, I said, my voice shaking with rage. You tried to steal credit for my work. He stood, defensive. I was trying to help. The family needs money, and I thought, you thought you'd take over because you don't trust me to handle it? He didn't answer. We stood there, tension crackling between us, until I heard a sound that stopped me cold. Adrian was crying. Tears streamed down Adrian's face as his whole body shook. I'd never seen my brother cry, not once in our entire lives. I'm terrified, Lucas, he choked out. Dad told me about the debt, and I've been carrying it alone for months. Every job I apply for rejects me. Every plan I make falls apart. And then you, he wiped his eyes roughly. You started succeeding, and I felt like I was disappearing. Like I'm the failure, not you. My anger deflated, replaced by something complicated. Pity maybe. Understanding. So you tried to tear me down? He nodded miserably. I thought if I kept you small, I'd feel bigger. But I just feel worse. We sat in heavy silence until my phone buzzed. An email from Streamline Solutions with the subject line, Licensing Agreement, Final Offer. My hands trembled as I opened it. The number on the screen made the garage spin. $250,000 up front, plus quarterly royalties projected at $30,000 minimum. I sat down hard on Dad's workbench, unable to breathe. This was life-changing money. This solved everything. I stared at the number until it blurred. $250,000. More money than I'd ever imagined having. Enough to save our house, clear the debt, and still have plenty left. Adrian watched me, his face a mess of tears and snot. What does it say? I showed him the screen. He read it, and his legs seemed to give out. He slid down the garage wall, sitting on the concrete floor. Lucas, that's... I know. For a moment, we just sat there, two brothers in a garage, the weight of everything hanging between us. I'm going to sign it, I said quietly. But I need to handle the family situation my way. Can you trust me on that? Adrian nodded, unable to speak. Over the next 2 days, I reviewed the contract with a lawyer Mara recommended. Everything checked out. On Wednesday afternoon, I signed the digital documents. The money would transfer within 5 business days. I didn't tell anyone yet. I wanted to handle this right. But on Friday morning, Dad received a certified letter at breakfast. An eviction notice. 30 days to vacate if the debt wasn't paid. Mom cried. Dad looked broken. Adrian stared at his plate. And I said nothing, waiting. The house was filled with panic. Mom called relatives, asking for loans. Dad contacted the bank, begging for extensions. Adrian disappeared into his room. I watched it all, my secret burning in my chest. The money from Streamline hit my account this morning. I'd already initiated the payment to the bank, the full $70,000 to clear our debt completely. But the bank's processing time meant it would take 24 hours to reflect in our account. I just needed to wait one more day. That evening, I was in my room when I heard Adrian shouting. We could sell Mom's car, or take a second mortgage. Dad's voice was tired. There's no time, son. We'd never process it fast enough. I closed my eyes, listening to my family fall apart one floor below me. I hated that I was letting them suffer, even for one more night. But I wanted them to feel the relief all at once, to understand what I'd done. Around 8 p.m., I heard Mom crying in the kitchen. I almost went downstairs then, almost ended their suffering early. But I forced myself to wait. Tomorrow morning, everything would change. I was awake before sunrise, checking my phone every few minutes. At 7:14 a.m., I got the confirmation. The bank received the payment. Our debt was cleared. I waited in my room, listening to my family wake up. Dad was in the kitchen making coffee. Mom's footsteps creaked in the hallway. Adrian's door opened. It was Saturday, so everyone was home. Around 8:30, the house phone rang. Dad answered it in the kitchen. I crept to the top of the stairs, listening. Yes, this is Robert Chun, Dad said. His voice was resigned, probably expecting more bad news. There was a long pause. Then, I'm sorry, could you repeat that? Another pause. Paid? But I didn't who? I heard Mom rush into the kitchen. Adrian's footsteps pounded down the stairs past me. I stayed hidden, watching from the shadows. Dad was holding the phone with a shaking hand, his face confused and hopeful and terrified all at once. The entire $70,000 was paid yesterday. The house is no longer in foreclosure. Mom gasped. Adrian froze. Who did this? Adrian demanded, his voice cracking. Who paid it? Dad slowly turned, his eyes scanning the room until they landed on me at the top of the stairs. Our eyes met, and he knew. I descended the stairs slowly, each step feeling heavier than the last. Mom was staring at me, her hand over her mouth. Adrian's face was frozen in disbelief. Dad set down the phone carefully, like it might shatter. Lucas, he whispered. I nodded. The app licensing deal came through. I paid off the debt. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Mom rushed forward, pulling me into a crushing hug. She was crying, her whole body shaking against mine. Dad joined us, his arms wrapping around both of us. Over their shoulders, I saw Adrian. His face crumbled. He slid down the wall, sitting on the floor just like he did in the garage, and he sobbed. Not quiet tears, huge, gasping sobs that shook his entire frame. When Mom and Dad finally released me, I walked over to Adrian. I sat beside him on the floor, and he looked at me with red, swollen eyes. I called you an embarrassment, he choked out. I told everyone you were worthless. And you saved us. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat with him while he cried. I'm sorry, he kept repeating. I'm so sorry, Lucas. The apology didn't come easy for Adrian. Over the next few days, he struggled with shame and gratitude in equal measure. But on Tuesday evening, he asked the family to gather in the living room. Aunt Marie and Uncle Tom were there too. Adrian stood, his hands shaking. I need to say something, he began, his voice unsteady. I've spent months tearing Lucas down. I called him an embarrassment. I spread rumors about him. I tried to sabotage his success because I was scared and jealous. His voice cracked. But Lucas saved our family. With the same app one mocked, he cleared our debt and saved our home. And he did it without demanding an apology first, without making me beg. He just did it. Tears ran down his face. I'm sorry, Lucas. I'm sorry for everything. You're not an embarrassment. You never were. I was. The room was silent except for Adrian's crying. Mom was holding Dad's hand. Aunt Marie wiped her eyes. I stood and faced my brother. I forgive you, I said quietly. But things have to change between us. He nodded quickly. Anything. I'll do anything. We shook hands, and it felt like a beginning. Fragile, uncertain, but real. Within days, word spread through our neighborhood. Mrs. Kim from next door stopped me at the mailbox. I heard what you did for your family. That's incredible, Lucas. At the grocery store, former classmates who never gave me the time of day suddenly wanted to chat. The video of Adrian's outburst got a second wave of attention, but this time the comments defended me. That brother owes him everything, one said. Mara texted me screenshots of people apologizing for judging me. It was surreal and uncomfortable. I never wanted fame or recognition. I just wanted to build something meaningful. Then I got an email that changed everything again. The subject line read, Interview Request, Tech Voice Magazine. Tech Voice was a major industry publication, read by millions. They wanted to feature my story, the app, the family drama, the unexpected success. This could be huge for your career, Mara said when I showed her. But I wasn't sure I wanted the spotlight. My phone rang before I could decide. It was a lawyer representing a competitor, claiming my app's predictive algorithm violated their patent. My stomach dropped. Everything I'd built might be about to crumble. The competitor's name was Taskmaster Pro, and their lawyer's cease and desist letter was brutal. They claimed I copied their prediction model, demanding I stop all development and distribution immediately. I was terrified. I called the lawyer Mara recommended, a sharp woman named Diana Reeves. Do you have documentation of your development process? She asked. Everything. Git commits, timestamps, design notes dating back 18 months. Good. Send it all to me. Over the next week, I lived in constant anxiety. Adrian, surprisingly, became protective. They're just trying to scare you, he said. You built this from scratch. Diana worked fast. She discovered something crucial. Taskmaster Pro's patent application was filed 3 months after my first public beta release. They didn't copy me, but they knew about my app and tried to patent similar technology anyway. This is intellectual property theft, Diana said grimly. They're the ones violating law, not you. She filed a counterclaim, and suddenly I wasn't the defendant anymore. Taskmaster Pro was facing serious penalties. Within 2 weeks, they settled quietly, paying a small fee and public acknowledgement. The tech blogs ate it up. Indie developer defeats corporate giant. My app's credibility exploded overnight. Downloads surged. Companies reached out about integration partnerships. Streamline Solutions was thrilled, projecting even higher royalties. But with success came new pressure. Reporters wanted interviews. Competitors analyzed my code. Random people sent partnership proposals. It was overwhelming. Adrian noticed me struggling. One evening, he sat beside me at my laptop. You need help managing this, he said carefully. Not taking over, just handling the business side while you focus on development. I looked at him skeptically. After everything? He met my eyes. I know I don't deserve your trust, but let me earn it back. I'm good at organization, at talking to people. You're good at building. Let me support you properly this time. I considered it. The old Lucas would have refused immediately. But maybe people could change. Trial basis, I said finally. 1 month. You handle scheduling and correspondence. But I make all final decisions. He nodded eagerly. Deal. Surprisingly, it worked. Adrian threw himself into helping me, and his business instincts were actually solid. He shielded me from distractions, scheduled efficiently, and never overstepped. For the first time, we worked together instead of against each other. 3 months after signing with Streamline, I received an email that made my hands shake. The sender was Donovan Pierce, a billionaire tech investor known for identifying breakthrough apps early. I've been following your work, his message read. I'd like to discuss an acquisition opportunity. Are you available next week? An acquisition. He wanted to buy my app. I told Adrian, and his eyes went wide. Donovan Pierce? Lucas, do you know what this could mean? The meeting was set for Tuesday at an upscale restaurant downtown. I was so nervous I barely slept the night before. Donovan was older than I expected, maybe 50, with kind eyes and an easy smile. We ordered food neither of us touched. Your predictive algorithm is remarkable, he said. I want to acquire it, integrate it into my productivity ecosystem, and scale it globally. The number he mentioned made the streamlined deal look tiny. $2 million upfront, plus percentage ownership in his company, plus guaranteed CEO position of the app division. You'd stay on, he emphasized. This only works if you're leading development and expansion. I was dizzy. Can I think about it? Take your time, he said, but I'll need an answer within 2 weeks. I spent those 2 weeks in agonizing deliberation. The money was life-changing, generational wealth, but it also meant giving up independent control, entering a corporate structure, living a completely different life. Mara thought I should take it. You've earned this, Lucas. My parents were supportive either way, but I realized there was one person whose input I needed. I asked Adrian to meet me at the park where we played as kids. We sat on the old swings, just like we did 20 years ago. Donovan Pierce offered me $2 million for the app, I said. Adrian whistled low. What are you going to do? I don't know. That's why I wanted to talk to you. He was quiet for a long moment, swinging gently. A year ago, I would have told you to take the money and prove everyone wrong. But now, he looked at me. What do you actually want, Lucas? I thought about it. I want to keep building. I want creative control. But I also want security for our family. Adrian nodded slowly. Then negotiate. Take the deal, but demand protection for your vision. You hold the power here, little brother. I smiled. When did you get so wise? When my little brother saved my family and taught me what real strength looks like. I met Donovan again, this time with Diana, my lawyer, and Adrian by my side. I accepted the acquisition, but with conditions. Creative control over core features, veto power on major decisions, and a guaranteed development budget. Donovan agreed to everything. The contracts took 3 weeks to finalize, but when I finally signed, it felt right. The money hit my account on a sunny Tuesday morning. $2 million. I stared at the number, hardly believing it was real. That evening, I gathered my family, Mom, Dad, Adrian, even Aunt Marie and Uncle Tom. I have an announcement, I said, setting up my laptop. I launched a live stream I prepared, sharing my screen with the room. It was a video message explaining my journey. The humiliation, the struggle, the app, the success. At the end, I announced the acquisition and thanked everyone who believed in me, especially naming Adrian's recent support. When the video ended, Adrian was crying again, but this time they were different tears. Thank you for forgiving me, he whispered. The live stream went viral within hours, another chapter in the story people couldn't stop following. But I barely noticed. I was too busy sitting with my family, finally at peace, finally respected, finally free. My brother thought I was embarrassing the family. Instead, I saved it. And that was all the validation I'd ever need.